Today we have the 2023 Ford Maverick with the Tremor package, and we're going to find out, is this Tremor package worth it on this Maverick? So in this video, we're going to take a look at the exterior, the interior, get it out on the road for a test drive, and talk about what exactly this Tremor package is, and whether or not maybe you should get the Tremor package with this Maverick. Let's get started. All right, y'all, let's take a look at the exterior of this Tremor version of the Maverick. So you've got the Lariat trim with the Tremor Off-Road Plus package to give it a little more beef. And starting right up front, first of all, in different areas of the vehicle, you're gonna find a variety of different accent pieces that are unique to this Tremor. So up front, you're gonna get these, they call them the black chrome headlights, so they look a little bit different, they're darker. Those are on the Tremor. You even get a different bumper and fascia here, and Ford says you even get skid plates up front underneath too. And check out these orange tow hooks. Ford also gives us LED headlight standard and the signature light here for this Lariat model. The paint color on this Tremor, it's kind of a milky grayish color. It is called Avalanche, and this is going to come with the Tremor 17-inch wheels that are optional, with the splash guards as optional too, and you've got the orange accent on those wheels as well, the orange Lariat trim, and some graphics on the hood and the side body there. And this crew cab configuration with this small bed is the only configuration you can get. But one thing unique with the Tremor is we get more ground clearance now at 9.4 inches long, and the same overall length at just a tad under 200 inches long. Or excuse me, 9.4 inches of ground clearance, 200 inches in length. And coming to the back, Maverick is stamped into the back. Got some familiar looking taillights, so you've got some resemblance of the other Ford pickups overall. Orange Tremor badge, even the hitch receiver back here is going to be part of this Tremor package, and there's a full-size spare tire underneath. So aside from these unique wheels, you get an off-road tuned suspension back here, off-road tuned suspension up front, and an electronic rear locker. All right, let's take a look at this bed. Now, one thing that is nice is this is a lockable tailgate. That is always convenient. You can get a tonneau cover on here. The Santa Cruz basically comes with one built in. You got to get that extra on here. There's no like soft opening tailgate or anything, but it is very lightweight indeed. And you can adjust the height of this, or at least the, it's a multi-position tailgate, so you can have it sitting up higher as well. You even get these tie downs from Ford like you see in the F-150. This bottom can even act as a bottle opener if you want it to. We have the optional spray and bed liner in here as well. Definitely a must-have if you're going to use your bed regularly. And you get 12 total tie down points. That's fantastic. You've got a couple solid ones up there in the back. You've got those pivoting ones that you can anchor things onto as well. And there's it's built to where you can put shelves in here. You can customize it, like you can put wood in that slot or there on the wheel wells. And 4x8 sheets do not fit between the wheel wells, but if you create a shelf, you can fit them in here above the wheel wells. And you've got one area over here, you can fit a couple items inside. And another spot over here, you can do the same thing. You can also get LED box lighting as an option on here. This is a 4.5-foot bed in length. With the tailgate, it is 6 feet. Now, one thing to keep in mind with this Tremor package is that payload drops 300 pounds. The payload here is 1,200 pounds now, whereas the regular Maverick is 1,500 pounds. Something to keep in mind. Now, the Maverick is going to give us the smart key system. You just have the typical buttons on here. No remote start on the key fob, even though this is the top end Lariat trim. You can do it on the Ford Pass app, but at least you get this here available on the Maverick. You can get the keyless touchpad. You do have a smart key system, so you've got those lines, you can lock it. And with Ford, you've got the sensor in the back to unlock it. And when we dive in, we're gonna get these synthetic seats, but they're a little bit different because they've got this orange pattern on them, as you can see right there, with the Tremor engraved there. One thing about the Maverick is, unlike other Fords, these headrests don't ratchet forward and backwards. They just stay there, and they're a little bit far forward for my taste, but overall the rest of the seat is comfortable. You've got a mild to moderate amount of side bolstering. The synthetic material feels pretty nice, and it is fairly soft and cushioned. You've got two-way lumbar support, height and recline, but you do not have a tilting adjustment to tilt the angle. Steering wheel is manual tilt and telescoping. It is leather wrapped on here though. And if you were looking for heated seats, you've got an option up for that. Even on this top-end Lariat model, they're not a standard feature here. Now the back seat, you might not expect a whole lot for a small pickup back here, but it is more practical than you would think. You even get a little padded armrest right here, a couple of separate bottle holders down there too. And this area is you know, plastic, but it doesn't feel terrible like some super cheap plastics. It's actually got a little texture to it. And legroom is not a strong suit, but also not a weakness considering the overall dimensions of this Maverick. But check this out. Underneath of here, there is a strap where you can lift that up and you've got some under seat storage. So would you rather have under seat storage compartments like this, or have it be a totally flat load floor overall? I'd love to know what you think. And I wish Ford could figure out how to do a split folding seat. The Ranger, last I was in there, couldn't do that either. It's just one giant fold. This could definitely be more practical if you could have a split folding seat, but at least you can still fold it. Now we've got USB port standard on this Lariat model. You can get an extra plug back here, like a 3-prong plug as an option. And sitting behind myself, I've got, you know, fairly good knee space and foot space considering the size of the vehicle. This seat is where I like to sit at 5'9", and it just works for someone like me too. It's not the most comfortable for a long trip, but I've got enough space. And headroom back here is fantastic as well. This is a really tall roof, so no problems with that. If you're gonna use this as a family vehicle, rear-facing seats, car seats, just don't work unless you really move your seats quite a ways up. In the middle, you get a center folding armrest right here. This is soft and padded with some cup holders. All right, let's take a look at the interior of this Maverick. So I've showed you the XL, the XLT. Things are similar here in this Lariat, even with the Tremor. You've got the same kind of material up here. It's not soft to rest your arm, but it does feel like a durable material. Padded armrest. You've got one-touch windows right there. A decent size space for bottles, an extra skinny bottle slot, and a little storage back in there. Coming in here, let's go ahead and start it up. Push button start. Got a little display there. Same thing over here. And I've got to say right off the bat, I think the interior of the Maverick is a practical little place. It's easy to live with. It's nothing complicated. You've got multiple little storage bins in here, and it's comfortable enough to live with. So steering wheel controls, pretty easy layout. Everything's on the front of the steering wheel. Cruise control. You've also got your audio controls, things like that. You can control your digital display up here as well. And you've got a larger digital display on the Lariat than you get in the other ones by a couple of inches. So you've got trip computer information. With this particular Tremor package, you also have more available screens on here, like the Tremor specific screens too. So you can see as I go through this, you can see everything that is on here. You can even see an off-road screen. You got a trailer light check screen on here too. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Here's our off-road screen, so you can see your pitch and your roll, which could be helpful if you're actually going on some dangerous areas. Even over here, you've got a little storage area back there. I mean, it's deep enough to throw like a wallet or sunglasses or something like that. There's even a second spot right in there. This goes back a decent ways too. I'm not real sure what the point of that is, but you could stash a couple items in there. I'm sure you could find something that would work. You also get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto on this 8-inch touchscreen. It's not wireless though. It does have to be wired in, but it takes up the whole screen. Or you can go back to Ford's here, customize different settings depending on what's available on your Maverick. You can also get an optional B&O sound system on here, so you can still have a nice audio even in the most affordable little pickup from Ford. You get a volume knob, a tuning knob, some arrows right here. Your auto stop start can turn off with that. So I love having controls in addition to the touchscreen. Then down here you even get dual zone climate control too. Definitely a plus in here. Easy to use climate control layout. You can get a wireless charging mat as an option. We don't have it here, even on this Lariat, but you've got some other little storage bins. Center control dial, or your center shifting dial right here. It doesn't take up as much space as a conventional shifter in terms of height. You've got an electronic parking brake back there as well. Bottle holder is good size. It's kind of low. This whole center console is pretty low, unlike a lot of consoles nowadays that you see in other vehicles. Then take a look at this. You've got an extra storage area back there. I'm telling you, tons of storage. Then you've got all of these controls. Let's go through some of them. So in the bottom right, we've got our brake hold button on right there. You can lock your rear differential, a locking rear. You can even lock it to where you have all or both axles, all 4 tires are locked, getting traction and getting torque. You've got trail control in this top right corner, which is basically like an off-road cruise control. This middle button is your traction control, and then we've got this Tremor button for drive modes. So I press that, this changes on the screen. You've got normal, tow haul, slippery, mud and ruts, sand, and then back to normal. Mysteriously, there's no sport mode, but who cares in a little pickup. There's even one more little area back there. I'm telling you, there's a ton of little cubbies in here. Plus you've got this center armrest and a decent sized center console down there. There's just no 12-volt power outlet or USB ports in this center console, which I'd like to see. There's a couple USB ports right up there, and then this little button, I love this. If you've ever owned a pickup, it's definitely nice to be able to have the option to open up that back window. Just a regular manual flipping mirror and sunglass holder up here. There's no sunroof in here. I don't know if any of you would want one in this, but then this entire visor will slide. So what do you think of the practicality of the interior of this Maverick? Is it something you could live with? Now under the hood, there's just a couple small changes the Tremor package will give you over the regular Maverick as far as its powertrain goes. You get a more advanced four-wheel drive system, they say all-wheel drive, and you also get a heavy-duty transmission cooler. So at least if you are pushing this thing off-road, hopefully it doesn't overheat. But the specs right here with this 2-liter EcoBoost, 4 cylinders, 250 horsepower, 277 pound-feet of torque with their 8-speed automatic transmission and all-wheel drive. Miles per gallon on this one, the combined rating is going to be about 25 mpg. I've driven the hybrid and that does in fact get good miles per gallon, but you can't get all-wheel drive with it. One detraction though of this Tremor is that it can only tow 2,000 pounds. That kind of stinks. I mean, there's a lot of crossovers, small crossovers or mid-sized crossovers for sure, that tow quite a bit more. The regular Tremor can tow over 4,000, or the regular Maverick with this powertrain setup can tow over 4,000. So you definitely take a hit with that. All right, y'all, we are now behind the wheel of this Maverick Tremor, and I've driven the turbo like this before and the hybrid. So if you want to check those out, look in the description below. This one's going to be just about this. Now, my first impression is that I do feel, and you can tell that you sit a little bit higher up in this Tremor, which is kind of nice that they add that in addition to the tires, the wheels, off-road suspension, the locking differential. It's nice they added some things, and it's not just an aesthetic package, but it, you know, still drives and feels very similar. I can't remember how the suspension feels on those other models, but this one, it soaks up bumps pretty well. The Maverick is a comfortable cruiser because it's built on a crossover platform, so it's basically like driving a, you know, a small to medium sized crossover, and that's not a bad thing in terms of day-to-day comfort. The handling is good as well. The turbo here, whoop, got a big bump. Anyways, it handles those well. The turbo is punchy. It's very punchy with just partial throttle input. It doesn't need a lot of throttle to get the job done. A little bit right here, and the torque comes out very quickly. The brakes feel fine as well. The road noise in here is also relatively decent. You've got a laminated windshield right here, not the side glass, but you wouldn't expect that. Ergonomics in here is also good. I'm comfortable. The screen is easy reach. All these controls are easy to operate. Parking this thing is a breeze because it's not nearly as big as mid-size or full-size pickups. The transmission in here, the 8-speed, in my time with this one, it has been smooth. I haven't really had any hard shifts or clunks or anything that stands out to me that shouldn't feel like that. You know, it's out of the way. It's a transmission you don't think about because it just gets the job done. All right, let's go ahead and get on it here in a second. So, yeah, all-wheel drive, pedal down. There's 60. It gets moving. It's definitely quicker than the hybrid model. Keep that in mind. So you don't get all-wheel drive with the hybrid either. That's a negative to that. It's really purely based off of efficiency, and it does a good job at that. So if you want something that's got decent torque, decent power, go for this turbo. And you can tow more with the turbo, except for this Tremor model. So you got to keep that in mind. But if passing power, if I'm going to get it past somebody here, pedal down, it grabs and goes pretty quick. It doesn't sound terrible either for a 2-liter 4-cylinder. Not too bad at all. Really, in conclusion, with the driving dynamics here, it's impressive. It does a good job. It handles well. It's comfortable. It's, you know, exactly what you would want in a unibody style pickup, something that drives and handles similar to a car or a crossover, but has a little bit more practicality with that bed, and now with this one with the Tremor package too. So to wrap things up on this Maverick Tremor, in my opinion, I don't feel like the Tremor package is worth it on the Maverick. I think the appeal of the Maverick is that it is smaller and it's affordable, and it's not really for those that want to go off-road or those that want to use it like typical trucks. You got a bed that's somewhat practical. You got decent space inside, decent efficiency. You can get a hybrid with it if you want to. But the Tremor package makes it less affordable, which is already one of the things that attracts people to it. Just my opinion, I'd go for something a little different if I wanted to go off-road, but I think the Tremor package looks nice. It's definitely a good aesthetic, and it doesn't, in fact, give you more ground clearance, all-terrain tires, and an off-road tuned suspension. So let me know what you think. It's not what I think, it's all about what you think. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. Check out my other Maverick videos. I've got the base XL model and the XLT in addition to this one. Have a great rest of your day.